Thank you, Jeff, for inviting me. Thank you so much. That was a really great poem. I really love the second piece. That was fantastic. Read a couple of pieces. They're second-person, vaguely fictionalized stories. Actually, they're not very fictionalized at all. But yeah, you'll get the gist of it. The first one is called Fair. You're 15 minutes away and the meeting is starting. You're the only one waiting on the street. You step close to the sidewalk and hold your hand towards heaven. Make eye contact with the next cab driver staring in your direction. A few years older, bearded like you, slightly fairer skinned. You nod your head and smile. You feel the edges of your lips curl down as he drives by without slowing. You turn and start walking. You wipe the sweat trickles from your face with the napkin from this morning's business mixer. You ignore the idea that there are probably people watching from the nearby restaurant, sipping their cool drinks and watching as your pride spills out over the hot pavement. You are a black man in a suit having a hard time catching a fucking cab. You are the performer and the problem. You are the cliche but not the customer. And you're about to be late for a very important goddamn business meeting. Enough work for the rest of the year. Enough to go back east for a minute, see the fam, and shoot some cash to your goddaughter who's starting school soon. You remember why you hate taxis, but you don't think about that time visiting a friend in Hell's Kitchen, how she stepped into the street all 100 pounds of her white womanhood after seeing you fail to hail 3 empty cabs. Her hands stuck out in the air, fingers slightly apart, mimicking yours in every way except pigment. I got it, she says. You just gotta know how to do it right. The asshole cabbie that passed you is slowing, stopping at a red light a few feet down the road with no one approaching. The in-service light is still on. You can make it if you ran. Man, fuck him. You could just walk the 15 blocks, but the sun is bright above your head and hotter than a preacher's daughter. Look at the cabin at your phone. You pick up a slight jog, draping your suit jacket over your arm. You catch the door handle while the light is still red, but half expect this fuck to pull off anyway as you grab the handle like a life preserver and slide into the back seat. You give the address with a please but no eye contact. You lean back in the seat and try to calm down. You take deep breaths. You don't make a big deal when you see the cab driver watching through the rear view and tense when you reach into your bag. You ignore the way his shoulders settle when all you pull out is a large water bottle. Maybe that didn't really happen. Maybe you're on edge and sensitive. You notice the cleanliness of the cab and the air heavy with car freshener. You think how your godfather would probably like this man, how he had drilled into each of his children the importance of presentation. You're calmer now, but the sour question still simmers in your mouth. Yo, dude, excuse me. He looks up into the rear view, turns the radio down slightly. You ask him why he didn't stop. The driver is turning into heavy traffic, and this allows him a few seconds of silent concentration. The air between you is vast and waiting for answers. He steadies the car and doesn't look back again. Hey, I'm sorry, my friend. I usually don't pick up black guys. You both let that sit for a moment. A fart of a statement that files up the small space. I was robbed by 2 black guys, he says. They had guns. A lot of drivers get robbed. The driver is Middle Eastern, Pakistani or Palestinian, Arabian or maybe Armenian. You feel slightly guilty for not being able to tell the difference. You wonder which one of you has been stopped more at airports. You consider how you've been misidentified in virtually every country you've ever visited. You Ethiopian, yeah? You Eritrean, yeah? You South African. Nah. You Black American, yeah? The Moroccan guys had asked that one time in Barcelona. Your backpack heavy with books and research. You thug, yeah? Show me your gap. You turn and look back out the window at the army of tourists, mostly wearing shades of the same absurd uniform and comfortable in their sameness. You think of how the lives we lead are shaped so much by the ways that we move through them, and you wish you had a soundtrack for this absurd moment. Some blues to score this awkward two-step between you. You sink deeper into the back seat. Yeah, dude, I understand. You're a block away from the office now. You look at the fare and the time on the dashboard. You're less than 10 minutes late. You calculate the tip. You slide your fingers into the leather bulge in your right pocket and pull out a 20 and a 10. You stop for a second. Then count out another 5 $20 bills. You roll the wad up with the 10 facing outwards. You gather your bag and suit jacket on one arm, slide the money over the seat and tell the man you'll get out here, thanks. You open the door onto the curb just as the driver finishes counting the money and turns backward to you with an open mouth and a question. You shut the door. You don't look back. You keep walking north towards the tall buildings. You walk quickly, as if your life depended on it. The good news for that is I had to catch a cab on the way over here today, and the fucker stopped, so yes. Progress in Age of Obama. Okay, second one. This is called Jackie. The first time you meet Jackie, she asks if you date, then offers to suck your dick before you answer. You're on the late night shift by the late night entrance, smoking when she approaches. 6 feet of platinum blonde, thick-shouldered, wide-stance working girl standing between you and the darkness. It's not your pay week. You give her a cigarette. The second time you meet Jackie, her sparkling gold stilettos are beating the sun at its own game, the high shine of her pleather pencil skirt hiding the bulging promise of sex, etched on eyebrows with arches to shame rope and architects, cocoa butter and red lip gloss in all the right places. She doesn't mention blowjobs, but asks for a cigarette anyway. She does ask you for a date. The third time you meet, she tells you her name because you ask. Because you figure if you're going to be giving up a motherfucking cigarette every time you walk past her motherfucking block, you should at least know the motherfucking name of the motherfucker you're giving it to. It's been a long day and you're tired. She's in a good mood and she laughs. She gives you her name like a gift and her upturned lips make you stand up just a little bit straighter. You wonder why she chose the name. Jacqueline. A name so thick with syllables that sits heavy on the tongue yet soothes the lips like a lover. You wonder about the process of naming yourself truly for the first time. About stating to the world that this is how you will address me. About how the names we choose for ourselves define how we see our futures. You wonder how much the world respects our choices. If Jackie's situation is an indicator, not very much. The fourth time you meet Jackie, it looks like she's been ass-fucked by anger. She's wearing a dirt-colored sweatshirt and a smell. Her face a cracked mask of mascara and concealer. The wig, earrings, and hot shit attitude nowhere to be seen. She's as far gone as her dreams. Her mind dropped down some dark alley. Like Cinderella in reverse. From street princess, bippity, to junkie, boppity, and the flip bonito. Boo. She looks like she needs a fix. Like she needs fixing. You give her another cigarette. You see her on her birthday and she's beaming. I know you got to smoke for a bad bitch on her birthday. She stopped asking for dates after she told you her name and had never straight up asked you for dollars, but today you feel like the kind of person who does something nice for other people on their birthdays. You hand her a 20 and tell her to buy herself some dinner or something. You hope she doesn't choose the something. Most times you meet her as like you're her personal cigarette vending machine, but that's not exactly a bad thing. You hope she sees you as something she can depend on, someone she can see coming and not be afraid of what comes next. You trade smokes and short talks and footsteps under the wild, overgrown trees in front of the church a couple of blocks before the bright danger of downtown. They killed Kiki out here last week. Shit don't make no sense. She says one afternoon as the sun is setting, you don't ask who killed Kiki or why Kiki is no longer with us. You don't get too deep into her secrets. She walks with you smoking over the bridge into the west, but stops at the light and doesn't move into the crosswalk. There are rules for girls like her. Stay close to where the other girls can see you, but not close enough to snatch their trade. Find a place to pee and a place to throw your shit if you need to run. Be findable but not obvious. Don't spend too much time in the light. Don't fuck with the D-boys on the corner 2 blocks down. Don't ever go past the bridge at night. One day Jackie runs past you. just as you're turning into the dark cluster of trees around her usual spot. You're, hey girl, falling into the rapidly expanding space between you as she shoots down the sidewalk in heels not meant for such quick steps. She side dips into the small park just as 5-0 rolls up behind you like death and slows. Shines the sickle of white spotlight onto your too masculine clothing, judges and drives off slowly like they'd gut you if there wasn't bigger fish just upstream. Another night you see her halfway down the block. You recognize her shape and slouch. As you walk out of the shadows, she tenses, moves her hand behind her back with purpose. Oh, hey, she says, exhaling smoke and leaning back against the brick. Man, fuck these niggas out here. She lifts her chin slightly toward the direction you just came, her right hand holding the cigarette and still shaking and just itching to cut a motherfucker. You don't ask for any details. Those are the rules. But you do lean beside her on the blood-colored wall for a minute and fill the air with twin smoke columns. Neither one of you says anything until you're ready to leave, and you pull the cigarettes from your back pocket and move them in her direction. I'm good tonight, thank you, as she turns her head back towards the darkness. You're on the train one weekend heading somewhere when Jackie sits in the seat in front of you and stares. You don't recognize me, do you? You turn to the man across the seat wearing a Raiders jacket and white t-shirt. It takes a few heartbeats to imagine him in a blonde wig and red lip gloss. You are slightly amazed how much she looks like the guys on your corner. How much she looks like someone in your family you haven't seen in forever. It's been a while since you've seen each other, and she tells you about how things are going good and how she's moving back to Vallejo to be close to her family and how her man is getting out of jail soon and how she's trying to move into an apartment so she can get custody of her son and how nice her day is and how she feels good and how good it is to see you, and you don't think she's high. But you do wonder how good she really is, but she's smiling, so you're smiling. And you get off the train half hoping that this is the last time you see Jackie, so when you think of her in the future, there's some hope that her life really did get better, and she really is somewhere in Northern California with her family and son and her man in an apartment, planning for a future that doesn't include crumpled $1 bills and late nights with some strange man's dick in her mouth. The next time you see her is about a year and a half later, about a block from where you first met. You had actually been just thinking about her and wondering if her man had made parole when you saw the tall, skinny figure walking towards you. Wouldn't it be funny, you thought, as the leggings and baby doll t-shirts moved closer? Hey, you got a cigarette for me? Seeing her is not funny. The dark meat of her swollen eyes sees no humor. Her face is like old leather, and you can see the sweat and the stains from 5 feet away. You don't ask what happened to her new life because you still want to believe that it exists somewhere a few cities over, and she snaps sitting down to the corner to clock in for the night. You reach into your pack and think about the first night you met, when she had offered to get on her knees in front of you. The way she had probably sized you up in the dark behind the buildings, deciding you were safe enough, deciding she could probably beat your ass if necessary, deciding that it was worth the risk. You remember how she looked that first black night, her hair a synthetic blonde river defying all shadows, the way her pink-tipped nails lifted the cigarette to her lips as she leaned in, the way she lit up as she closed on the burning fire, the way her face burned, and the way she shined in the flames.